Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. This is going to be my Round 8 Anzac Day preview between the Melbourne Storm and the New Zealand Warriors. It's been played at Aami Park in Melbourne on Tuesday, the 25th of April next week at 7 p.m. Australia time. So that'll be 9 p.m. New Zealand time. Sky Sports in New Zealand, it's on TV there. And here it's on Foxtel and KO in Australia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through both the team lists. The Melbourne Storm, who are the home side, I'll go through them first. And then I'm going to go through the Warriors side. Go through some key matchups to watch on the field. Betting prices. Strengths and weaknesses for both sides. Keys to victories and stats as well. And also I'm going to give a prediction towards the end as well as an anytime try scorer. So we'll go through the team list now. So we'll start off with the Melbourne Storm, the home side, and this is how they line up. So we've got Nick Meaney back in the fullback spot, Will Warbrick on the wing there, and Remus Smith in the centres with Justin Olam. Xavier Coates on the other wing, and returning back into the 6th jersey this week is Cameron Munster. He partners Jerome Hughes. Nelson Asofa-Solomona, another huge in, and he is back in the prop spot. Harry Grant, the hooker, and Christian Walsh, the other prop. Trent Loiero in the second row with former Warrior taking on against his former side there. Aliasa Katoa in the second row, and Josh King is the lock. Bench reads Bronson Garlick, Alec McDonald, Tom Eisenhuth, and Tarek Sims. Now the reserves, Aaron Penne, Tyrone Wishard, Jonah Peasant, Jack Horth, and Grant Anderson is 18th man. Now to the mighty One New Zealand Warriors, the Wars, and this is how we line up as the away side. So we've got fullback, Charles Nickel-Klugstad, Dylan Watene-Zalesniak on the wing, and Marcelo Montoya in the centres with Adam Pompey. Edward Cossey on the other wing, and the halves are Dylan Walker and Sean Johnson. Adam Whenuaboat, the prop, and Freddie Lussick remains in the hooker spot. So Wade Egan was free to play next week, but the Warriors have decided to give him another week to recover. And Jazz Savanga is the prop there with Jackson Ford in the second row. And returning from suspension is Marata Niokore in the second row. So it's great to have him back. And Tohu Harris, the lock and the skipper there in the 13. Now the bench reads Bailey Sirenen, Josh Curran, Bunty Afoa, and Tom Ale. The reserves for the Warriors are Tain Tuapiki, Ronald Volkman, Dimitri Safakula, Zion Mau, and Viliami Valia, 18th men. Match official for this game, Grant Atkins is leading ref, and Ben Cummins is the senior review official. So, yeah, look at the Melbourne Storm team there. Like I said there, I personally think that Nelson Solomona is a massive in for the Storm. Also, Nick Meaney is a good player to have back into your side, as he can do a bit of goal kicking as well. Very handy fullback to have for the Storm. With still no Ryan Papenhuyzen, so who knows when Ryan Papenhuyzen will be returned to the field this season. But I think having Cameron Munster back in the halves is a huge bonus for the Storm, partnering Jerome Hughes as well. So I think, look, those two are players that the Warriors will probably need to look out for. And, Harry Grant's been very good this season as well for the Storm. So I think that Storm side speaks for itself. Look, I think if you look at the bench, the Storm bench, and compare it to the Warriors bench, so we got Bronson Garlick, Alec McDonald, Tom Eisenhuth, and Tarek Sims. The Warriors have got Bailey Sirenen, Josh Curran, Bunty Afoa, and Tom Ale. I think, personally, the Warriors have got the better bench of the two sides. I think the Warriors bench is a lot more of a stable bench than the Storm. I think we can have a lot more impact from the likes of Bailey Sirenen, who probably will come on and play a bit of hooker again. Josh Curran, come on and play in the in the second row, Bunty at 5 as well. So I think for me, the Warriors bench for me gets a big tick of approval over the Storm bench. But look, overall, I think both sides are very strong on the field. Obviously, we are missing Wade Egan, which is a shame, but I think, it'll be great to have him back. But I'm looking forward to, seeing him back in the side against the Roosters as well in round 9. So, look, other than that, the Warriors are close to full strength, bearing no Egan there. Marata Niokore is a huge in for the Warriors in the forwards there. So, if I was to rate each side, I'll give the Warriors an 8 and the Storm an 8 out of 10. Now, going through to the key matchups to watch for me on the field in this game, and something that I'm really looking forward to with this matchup is the halves. Actually, the halves battle between Jahrome Hughes and Shaun Johnson. Now, Shaun Johnson, so far this season, has been in great form. Career best form, actually, in my opinion. And it's great to see Shaun very confident again. I think he had a strong game again last week in that game against the Cowboys. Jahrome Hughes, yeah, look, he's probably been, I want to say he's been at his best this season so far, but he's also been out with injuries also. So, look, a strong Jahrome Hughes is good for the Storm as well. So, I'm also looking at Cameron Munster, and Cameron Munster is a key player for the Storm. He's a key player to look out for, and the Warriors have got to watch out and defend him pretty well. He's a dangerous player when he's got the ball, and the Warriors will need to do their homework on Munster, especially when he kicks the ball. And if he does get a bit of room and makes a few tackle breaks as well. So the Warriors have got to watch out for Munster. Nelson Sofa-Solomona, I think, as well, is a big player that the Warriors will need to look out for in the forwards. Harry Grant, dangerous hooker out of dummy half. Very strong runner of the ball as well. Creates a lot for the Storm's attack, especially. So, Harry Grant, I personally believe he's the best 9 in the game at the moment. I think he's one of the most underrated players, and I think Harry Grant is someone you need to be looking out for if you are the Warriors there. But Eliasa Katoa, he's going to be someone who wants to have a strong game against the Warriors, given it is his former side there. But yeah, overall, I think the battle of the halves there for me is a matchup to look out for, and also the battle between the forwards. Fanua Blake, Nelson Sofa-Solomona. You've also got the likes of Christian Welch, Jazz Tavanga there, Katoa and Niokore. Harris versus Josh King, also there. I'm looking at the forwards, especially the halves for me, as battles to look out for on the field next Tuesday. Now to the betting prices now in terms of this game, and no shock by sports bet here that the Melbourne Storm paying $1.35 to the New Zealand Warriors, $3.21. Massive ranked outsiders in this clash. No surprises there, given the Storm's record in Melbourne over the Warriors over recent seasons on Anzac Day. Now, to look into the strengths and weaknesses for the Storm. Now, you don't generally look at the Melbourne Storm and say there is a weakness, because, they're very consistent in what they do. They get the work done very well on the field. Craig Bellamy knows how to get his side up. And you generally look for a weakness in the Storm. It's generally quite hard to do. But this year, I think the Melbourne Storm 4-pack is something that's not as good as it used to be. I mean, you've got no Felice Kafusi anymore. The Bromwich brothers are gone. I think, look, Christian Welch is a very handy player. Sofa-Solomona is great having your side. But Trent Loiero and Josh King, and look, I don't know, the players that aren't really massive standouts. They're solid players on the field, but, bearing in mind you've got Nelson Sofa-Solomona, if you can unlimit his opportunities, make sure he doesn't get a lot of meters, makes a lot of offloads. You've really got a lot there on the field, Melbourne Storm, in terms of your 4-pack there. So I think the Warriors 4-pack for me, is probably a lot better than the Storm. So I think I'm going to say their 4-pack. I'm going to say their 4-pack is probably a weakness other than Nelson Sofa Solomona. I think that's, and Christian Walsh. That's the only two forwards I think are strong forwards for the Storm, and probably Katoa. But other than that, I think their full picks a weakness for me. I think their strength is probably their backs. You know, Will Warbrick, Remus Smith, Justin Olam, Xavier Coates. You know, very fast, fast outside backs, strong outside backs that can give you a lot of meters on the field. So I think Melbourne Storm, their strengths is probably their outside backs there in that department of Remus Smith and Olam and Coates, sorry. And I think their strength is also probably going to be their halves of Munster and Hughes as well. So as for the Warriors, look, I think our strength so far this season has been our outside backs. Personally, I think our outside backs have been great. Chance Nickel Klugstad at the back there at fullback. You know, he's running pretty well. He's gaining a lot of meters on the field. You know, he's saving. He's doing a lot of work. Chance Nickel Klugstad. And I think the likes of Edward Cozy, who's a big body, as well as Adam Pompey, you know, yes, they come a lot of criticism for their defence, especially, but what they bring in terms of meters for this Warriors side when they're in trouble has been great. So I think for me, the outside backs of the Warriors have been particularly strong as well. So, you know, the four pack, especially with Adam Fanua-Blake, I think Adam Fanua-Blake's probably having his best season in a very long time. It's great to see Fanua-Blake really performing on the field. I thought last year was probably not his best year, but other than that, I think if you look at the strengths of the Warriors, it's probably be the outside backs and also the halfback and Sean Johnson as well. But the weakness obviously is still a bit of our edges, our left side edges especially. It's probably something that the Melbourne Storm could really target going into this game next Tuesday night, I personally believe. So I think the Warriors' left side edges need to be wary of what the likes of Justin Olam and Xavier Coates can do on that side of the field. And I'm sure the likes of Munster will look to target on that side of the field. I mean, a lot of teams have been targeting that left side edge of the Warriors this season, and at times the defence has been really exposed in that area, especially against the Sharks and especially against the Knights as well. So, yeah, now looking to the keys to victory for both sides. So, for the Warriors, it's obviously got to be their starts. The first time this season we've been managing to score the opening try in a game was against the Cowboys last week at Mount Smart Stadium. It was good to finally, open the scoring after conceding early in a lot of games this season. So we need to step up and make sure we do continue that on and improve in that area. And, that's important. Start well. Do not let Melbourne score the first two tries of the game, because if they score the first two tries of the game, I think it's just going to be very difficult for us to chase down. So, although we have chased down scores before, we can't afford to be doing that against the Storm on Anzac Day in Melbourne, especially with home ground advantage, and especially with the Storm that generally, when they start well, they generally go on to win games of footy. So we need to start well, be on it from the first couple minutes. Defensively, need to be strong. Our attack needs to be executed very well as well. Just all the general basics around the game that the Warriors will need to do in order to get victory against the Storm and get a upset result. As for the Melbourne Storm, despite their loss to the Seagulls the previous week, I think it's obviously going to be the fact that they'll be relying on the likes of Kevin Munster, Jerome Hughes, Harry Grant as well in their attack. And I think for them, their keys to victory is pretty simple. Just do all the same usual basics that the Storm have come to know to do, which is defend very well and apply pressure to the opposition. So we'll look into the stats now. So head-to-head stats between these sides. The Warriors and the Storm have played 49 times. Storm have won 31. The Warriors have won 16. There's been 2 draws. And the win-loss record this season for the Warriors, 5-2 coming into this game, sitting in third spot on the ladder. And the Melbourne Storm are 4-3, come into this game sitting in 7th spot on the ladder. Now, the win record at Aami Park, 110 to 149, with the Melbourne Storm there, 74%, which is a remarkable record for the Storm at Aami Park. Warriors, not great at all, 3 from 12 with 25%. Now, tries this season for the Warriors and the Storm. Now, the Storm average here 3.4, Warriors 3.9. Running meters, Storm average 1,710, Warriors 1,621. And the last meeting between these sides, the Storm 24-12 on the 29th of July 2022. Storm 70, that's right, 70 to 10. Boy, that was a game last year Warriors fans would want to forget. That second half especially was absolutely shocking. That was a game, as a fan, was probably one of our worst losses in history of the club, actually. So 13th of June 2021, the Warriors 16, Storm 42. You can see there that Storm have dominated the recent record against the Warriors. Like I said there, last win against the Storm for the Warriors was back in Anzac Day 2014, and that was where the Warriors were sitting down the bottom of the table at the time and on a losing streak, where the Storm were going pretty well, and the Warriors managed a shock result, getting the win with Andrew McFadden as the head coach back in that game. We won at 16 to 10, and also that day David Fusitu'a also scored a try in that game. So yeah, it's been a long time between drinks for the Warriors on Anzac Day and getting wins over the Storm. It's been far too long now. So, look, now to my prediction in anytime try scorers. Obviously, my heart is going to be tipping the Warriors here. My head saying Melbourne Storm at home. We've got this game the next couple of weeks as a real test to see where the side is at. A win here for the Warriors, an upset over the Storm would be a massive result. It'll be huge in terms of this season and where we are going to be situated at the back end of the year as well. Although it's only round 8, this game is a test. It is a massive test. And look, the Storm haven't been convincing. They have not been at their best this year. It's not the Storm we've seen in recent years. So there's no reason why this Warriors team can go to Melbourne and get the result. And I've never been this optimistic in a very long time. I've never been this optimistic for years. You know, when I've come into this clash, I've usually been the person to think there's no chance. But we are definitely a chance to win this game. No doubt about it. Now, Storm deserving favourites. But I'll say it now. This Warriors team, and I'm going to back us in. I'm going to back us in here. I think we're going to get this win. I think we can break this losing streak against the Storm. So I am going to go here with a Warriors win. That's right. I'm going with a Warriors win. I believe we can get the job done in Melbourne. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. It's always a test against Storm, regardless of how you look at the Storm this year. This is a game where the Warriors can go there to Melbourne and pick up a shock result. I think it can happen. So I'm going to go the Warriors by 7 points. That's right, 7. I'm going to say there'll be a field goal in this game. I'll go Warriors 17 to 10. And a prediction in terms of anytime try scorers, I am going to go with Edward Costi and Marcelo Montoya. That's right, Edward Costi in this game last year on Anzac Day probably had a game to forget. But I think he'll go there and bury the Demons, get a try on the board. And I'm going to say Marcelo Montoya will score as well. Now for the Storm, I'll say Xavier Coates here on that wing. Cameron Munster as well to score a try. And I'm going to go with Nelson Asafa-Solomona and Aliasa Katoa to score against his former side there. So Warriors 17-10. I reckon this will be a closer game than what was last year. The Warriors have a chance to finally get one over the Storm, and they will get it done, in my opinion now. So that is my preview, everyone, for this game between the Melbourne Storm and the One New Zealand Warriors clash on Anzac Day. Remember, what that day is all about Anzac Day, and it's about the soldiers that fought for Australia and New Zealand. Lest we forget, and fingers crossed for victory next Tuesday night. Cheers, everyone.